I've been around for many disastrous game launches, and while some games have been worse overall quality or launched in a less playable state, none of them have been quite as embarrassing as Redfall.
I think she was already dead.
Redfall is the latest from Arcane Austin, the once acclaimed studio that made Prey, and the sister studio to Arcane Lyon that made one of my favorite series, Dishonored. Throughout their storied history, Arcane has made a name for themselves as one of the last bastions of the immersive sim genre, sporting their signature play your way mantra with each new iteration, allowing for a more creative approach that gives players the ability to complete missions in whatever way they see fit. With Microsoft at the helm of publishing this time around, there is certainly more money involved, so this sounds like the perfect opportunity to really wow players with something cool. But immersive sims are unfortunately not the most popular genre, so how can they freshen up this formula to drive in new players? Oh, I know, by taking every dog shit idea that Ubisoft and every other shitbox open world developer has churned out over the last decade and haphazardly throwing them together with a pointless co-op hero system and a dipshit live service model that means absolutely nothing when the game is going to be dead on the side of the road before they even get the chance to push out new content like most other fuck-ass live service piles of shit that have come out in the past 5 years. Not a single part of this dumpster fire works, and it's so baffling how this even got made because I don't know why anybody thought any of this was a good idea. Right off the bat, you know you're in for a bad time when the story consists of non-animated 3D cutscenes and one of the corniest villains of all time who appears on TV screens to constantly chirp in your ear about vague nonsense while using a jigsaw voice changer.
I see you running. I see you hiding.
Once you head out into the open world, you can see the true next-gen game design on full display, as you can interact with sinks and toilets, which is very cool. You can also walk up to countless buildings that you can't enter, which I think is really fun because it gives you a chance to appreciate the incredible environmental storytelling of locked doors.
Yeah, see, they put this really intense barrier here of 3 loosely stacked kayaks.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I get it. All right, yeah.
I made a joke back in 2018 in my Fallout 76 video about how you can just pick any direction and walk and you'll probably come across like 10 buildings you can't enter before finding something you can. That is also the case here, which is really nice to see that open world game design has really improved in the last 5 years. Unfortunately, aside from appreciating the kayaks, that's about all you can do, as the only other thing available to you in the open world is picking up junk. Like, everywhere, constantly. You were just picking up junk, non-stop. That's pretty much the main mechanic of the game. Of course, none of the shit is actually used for anything though. It just gives you more currency so that you can go spend it in the shop that just gives you shittier weapons than the ones that you'll find within 5 minutes of playing the actual game, so there's that. Speaking of playing the game, if you have the ability to left-click or pull the trigger on the controller, then congrats, you've beaten Redfall, as every mission only contains like 4 or 5 enemies that just stand around with broken-ass AI, waiting to be one-tapped in the head because everyone dies instantaneously, even on hard mode. This sweet design of every enemy being one-tappable renders your character's unique abilities completely fucking useless, to the point where I have no idea why they even added characters with special abilities if nothing about the game was going to be designed around using said abilities. Especially because playing in co-op doesn't even scale up the difficulty or add more enemies either, making the game just pitiful to play with friends.
Like my way, baby.
You know, they're almost thinking about shooting back at you.
Yeah. For like a split second there, it seemed like maybe he was gonna try and interact. Okay. Moving on.
The entire selling point of this piece of shit was that it was a co-op shooter, yet not a single aspect lends itself well to co-op. The missions themselves are just as embarrassing, with creative, innovative designs such as walking across the map to a cemetery to place a pocket watch on a tombstone and fight 0 enemies. Yeah.
That was the mission? I put the pocket watch here, and that's the mission? And the thing is that, oh, I can steal it for like, you know, fucking $200 or something? What the fuck?
And engaging, play your way design that gives you the creative freedom to jump over a fence instead of using a lockpick on it. There are practically no good ideas here, and I cannot fathom why any part of this game deserved to be made. Even the art is a step down from previous Arcane projects. We went from the gorgeous whale punk aesthetic and hyper-stylized characters of Dishonored to decent-looking, semi-realistic Massachusetts and awful-looking, semi-realistic characters.
What the fuck?
I played about 8 hours, and it just kept getting worse as it progressed, so I won't be finishing it, and honestly, I don't even want to talk about it that much more. I had planned to make this a longer video, and thought of maybe even making it like a follow-up to my open world video, as this is like literally the exact type of game I specifically talked about hating, but I just don't have the drive to do that because, frankly, this game doesn't even really deserve as much effort as I put into this video. Redfall is a colossal waste of everyone's time, and while I've definitely played worse games overall, this is probably the most shameful, especially coming from a dev like Arcane. It's not worth playing even as a casual thing with friends because it's just fucking boring. Please go play the phenomenal Dishonored series instead, or Prey. This piece of shit deserves to be forgotten by history forever, so I better see none of you fucks talking about how this game is actually good now in 6 months when they fix the performance and add a shitty DLC character. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back to playing a good video game.
You'd run if you knew what was coming.